All right. We are back for another big time banger and live in the Counselor's Corner. I'm your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me as my co-host, the Big Bad Wolf, Herb Lewis.
Ow!
Tonight, on Monday, May 12th, we will be covering the topic what your grandmother never told you about dating. Dating myths can lead to disappointments, frustrations, and heartbreak. Let's explore the most common myths and provide you with the knowledge to make informed decisions. Here are a few top dating myths that many of us are familiar with. Number one, opposites attract. Number two, you know it's love at first sight. And three, men should always pay. These myths range from state to state and based on different cultures and generations. Man, oh man, this ought to be good. Please like and share our video, and don't forget to tell a myth teller to tell another myth teller to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. Sitting on 947 subs, getting close but not close enough. Keep on supporting. Keep on supporting. Your love and support will never go unnoticed. So here we are, May 12th. May is just floating by, flying by, and school year for us, I think tomorrow will make 23 days left of school. And man, can't come soon enough. Can't come soon enough. What a year. What a year. Opening up at a new building. What a school year. I've been talking about that throughout. Just looking forward to the summer. You know, trying to get some other things together and eventually try to put everything in place to wrap up this educational career. Well, I guess it's never ending. Uh, I'm sure I'll always have some parts of it, but man, when you been in it this long, you still enjoy it, but you say to yourself, "All right, it's time to do something different." Uh, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I'm not beat down every day like some people. Like I always give teachers their respect. Like I don't know how y'all do it. Don't know how y'all do it. But some of them do it, and some of them do it for a long time. So that's pretty much what I got going on. It might be something else that pop up um, during the broadcast, but can't think of any other housekeeping things. Big Bad Wolf was good with you.
Man, the weight loss is it's like a heavyweight fight, and I do mean heavy. But today is that first day me climbing a mountain, and every so often I see things that particularly they make me ambivalent, disgusted, and shameful. And I'm gonna levy this at black men because they are the only group of people who I see do this. Now, I don't know if it's cultural. I don't know if it's a lack of skill, but I do know this: it needs to stop. I was out the local school putting up some hoops. A young man, I'm going to assume that was father and son. The son was with his friends. It's always an impressionable time. School let out for the day. You at the park, you want to put up some hoops. You chilling with your boys and some females for that matter. Father walks up on the bike, calls him over, and I can hear the conversation. And I'm about 50, 60 yards away from him, and I can hear him say, "Your teacher called today and said you were falling asleep in school." Nah, he said, "Take your little motherfucking," and I know it's within the 10-minute time frame, but we're not monetized, so it's not gonna hurt us. He says, "Take your little motherfucking ass home." Didn't I tell you about doing that motherfucking shit? And I'm just thinking, yo, you don't need to dress him down like that. At this age, for boys, especially young black boys, confidence is everything. And if you take that from them by doing that in public, they may never regain that confidence. And I wanted to holler at the man. I called him. He looked and just rode away. He was on his bike. That's the ambivalent part because I understand how that can escalate into a fight because it's his son. He's doing what he thinks he needs to do for his son, and I see that as somebody who wants to say, "I'm not against you checking your son. I'm not against you reprimanding your son. I'm just against you harming your son." And I already know how that can go. It can go left real quick, and it can end up in a fight, which is not something that I want, but it's something I'm prepared for. And people will say, "Well, what business is it of yours?" That's simple. Black boys in this country have few advocates, and I can say that because I've done it and I've seen it firsthand. And if the father isn't going to advocate for the boy, then who will? Black boys need protecting the same way as black girls, Hispanic girls, Caucasian girls, Native American girls, East Indian girls, Asian girls. But nobody wants to see that until that boy ends up on the trigger side of a weapon or the other side of the knife blade doing some type of crime. And people will say, "Well, where was his parents at?" Those were one of his parents. So I'm just putting this out there as a PSA. If I see you doing something, don't be surprised if I pull your coattail on it. Because it's not necessary. If you wanted to have that conversation with that young man, do that behind closed doors. Don't do that publicly. You robbing a man of the few things that he has actually born with, and that's his confidence.
Well, you know, some people, some people may not, will seem not to have that ability of that, emotional intelligence to know a time and a place and a surrounding and uh, who that person is with. Um, just reminds me of back when I was younger. My one aunt, I'm not going to call out her name, but she was notorious for trying to kind of throw stuff out there in front of, my peers and stuff. But when my grandmother was around, she would always check her, like, don't do that. Like,
Yeah,
don't do that in front of, don't do that, call them over here or don't do that or don't say nothing at all. But
right.
pretty much telling her it's a time and place for that. And now, don't get me wrong, it's times when some parents pull up at the school and their kids been out of pocket, and the parents say, "Oh, yeah, I might want to step away." And they handle their business. Only thing you can say is, "Hey, hey, you had it coming. You had it coming," and I'm sure everybody tries to avoid it to no end of not calling your parent up, but you keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So then that's what happened because the thing is, as kids, you know who your parents are.
Well, yeah.
You know the deal. So you got to do a better job of avoiding it and stopping thinking and hearing that parent voice in your head while you're doing it. And even though you may be trying to, impress your friends or doing this or be the class clown or either I don't give a damn, I'm going to sleep. You better find some way to get that tape recorder or of a voice of someone that's close to you or means something to you that plays in your head so that you can say, shit, I better stop. Because if this get
Yeah.
back to this person, I know what it's gonna be. I know how the story go in. But oftentimes, I don't know with this younger generation, they don't have a conscience. They don't hear them voices, or whatever the case is, and maybe is because they feel like they're invincible or nothing can happen to them because of the child, the knowledge that they have. Think of like far as child abuse and all that stuff. And I often say parents can handle their business. Can't be obsessive. Just can't leave bruises and
Right.
marks and stuff like that. If you can find a way to do it without leaving that, I guess you're gonna have to have at that ass.
Yeah, and the thing about it, and see, it wasn't so much that he was emasculating him there; it was the reason. And we've talked about this on this platform an inordinate amount of times. I've had to deal with it, when I was a part of the AAU program when we took the kids out of town. You have complete, as a parent, you have complete control over when your child goes to bed. Period. No discussion, no debate, no nothing. And if your child is falling asleep in school, it's because you, the parent, aren't setting the parameters for which that child need to take their behind to sleep. That means no TV in the room, no cell phone, no nothing until they've demonstrated the ability to actually go to sleep, be adequately rest, be in school paying attention. Now, this young boy couldn't have been in no more than fourth or fifth grade. So that tells me the parent isn't parenting. I already know that. I don't even have to speak to the father. And I'm gonna call him a young father because he couldn't have been no older than 35. And see, that's what chafes my ass. It's cats like that that need to be ran up on, and they need to be taught a lesson. But you know, that's just a wolf speaking. So, let me let me not blow too hard because like I said, there's some shit that just chased my ass, man. But you got complete control of that. So if he's not getting enough sleep, first thing you should do as a parent, do I need to make his bedtime earlier? Do I need to take away some privileges? He did right by sending him home. He shouldn't have been out there playing because he was sleeping in school. That was the one thing I agree with. But they're yelling at him like he's a grown man. Because if that's a grown man, that turns out a completely different way. Y'all knuckling up. So give these young boys that respect.
Well, one of the things as far as that, well, today we had, my grade level, seventh grade testing. And I had a kid in my group. This motherfucker was hiding the motherfucker. Every few seconds, he was knocked out. To the point, I dismissed all the other kids to go to the next period when testing was over. I had forgot all about that he was over there. He was knocked out. I had to like, yo, dude, it's time to go to the next period. He gets up, like, and I'm like, and I know he probably has some things going on, but one of the things I always ask kids, what time do y'all go to bed?
Yeah.
And then I tell them, I said, and when I had dealt with them last year when he was in sixth grade, I said, probably a sixth grader, y'all probably should be getting ready to settle in at like 9:30, calling it a damn night in the bed. And they like, 9:30. Like, y'all 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And they like, I was like, so what time y'all go to bed? Now they could be bluffing or just saying shit, but in a sense, I sort of believe them. And they be like, 11, 12, 1 o'clock. And then I said, and then you wonder why y'all come to school irritable.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't get enough sleep. If you ain't already you're not enthused about the curriculum in the first place, you irritable just hearing that teacher's voice. Uh, you can't wait till they say you can work independently or get some free time. Because other than that, you listen and I even understand on the state test and some of the stuff that they have to read and answer. It could put you to sleep because it's not exciting. Whoever makes these tests have it upgraded and say, you know what? We have to change it up, and in these characters and these things, we have to make it relevant to uh, to this time. It should be rewritten every year as the year go by. You should put things in that they potentially may know about or may be interested in reading along in a paragraph to say, "Man, I want to know what's going to happen in here." Oh, they got something about this person. They got a thing in here about P. Diddy. And
I was, you know, that's. Let me interrupt you for a moment. Let me ask this question. It sounds a little like um the SAT test in the manner that is, or the information that is used to ask questions.
well, I haven't even read.
Or have you seen it?
I just I kind of glance at it,
Okay.
and I haven't like read through like a manual or something like what they're, but I can almost just tell, and then based on what the kids say, that I know they kind of be bored. Either they rush through it, or uh, I could find myself tapping them like, "Yo, you got to get up, you got to get up." Because that one boy, he was holding up the whole other class. They was ready to move on to session two, but I couldn't move on because the time had went
Right.
by, and I
Right.
had to keep waking him up so he could still have his allotted time. But I'm like, damn, dude, we could have been finished with that and moving. And it's hard to keep 29 other 12-year-olds. Uh, it's not like all of them put their, see, before I had small groups, so it'd be 5 or 6. But now I had a big group today, so it's hard for them all to put their heads down and like they know they looking at each other. They just
Answers,
it's
yeah.
hard for them, yeah, to even, and even, some of them, you're ready to incline to try to reach for phones, go in their book bag, it's stuff like that, and it's like, but this one kid, and we back at it tomorrow, so. I doubt it. I doubt if anything changed. Well, he did finish session two pretty quick, so he probably said to himself, "I'm just gonna go through bark every goddamn thing so I can go back to sleep and he can leave me the hell alone." And I believe that's what he did because he was probably one of the third or fourth person done with that session, and he slept. Oh, he slept real good, like he was at the fucking Holiday Inn. Yeah, or at
Red Roof or something.
Red
Yeah.
Roof or any of the Wyndham. He slept good.
It's tough, man. And I I I do feel a whole lot of empathy for these kids, but it's like I used to tell them, hey, look, it's just 12 years. I know it seems like an awful lot to go through, but get through these 12 years, you can chart your own course. You can go back to school if you choose to. You can go to the military. You can get into the job force, or you can take a trade. And I'm looking long term now. 2 years from now, I'm probably going to restart what I was doing with the AAU program, just the education component. I've spoken to a few people in regards to that because the way I'm looking at things right now, if President Trump keeps on his path, and this is not a shot at President Trump for anyone that thinks it is, I personally don't disagree with some of the things that he's doing, but that's politics, and I'm not going to bring that here. But if what he's going to do with the Board of Education, such as it is at the federal level, he's going to start handing out more vouchers so people get school selection and school choice. There's going to be a lot of unhappy people. And we already know what the teachers you can do in this country. There's going to be nothing the teachers union can do about that because they can't stop it. There's going to be a presidential mandate or a presidential order that's going to come down. So anything like that, he has a say in it. And it's a whole lot of people that can't get right don't get left. And what I mean by that is this: teachers who have the ability to teach, they're going to be sought after, and they're going to be able to name their own price. It's the ones who can't teach. Now, far be it for me to say who can and who can't teach. I haven't been in. I graduated high school in '92. I had 30 some odd years. I can't tell you what teachers now can teach. I can't tell you what teachers can't teach. I will say this though. I can step into a classroom and you give me a week, maybe two, I can tell you if that teacher can teach. That much I can guarantee you now. The only other problem you have with that, and I'm sure David can attest to, is do the students want to learn? And that is something no teacher can control. And that's where the teachers are at the mercy of the parents and the community that these kids come from. If these kids come from a community in a home where education is prioritized, teachers gonna have no problem. If they don't, I don't care how good that teacher is of a teacher, they will struggle. And the grades will reflect that. That's where the conundrum comes in.
Well, I think one of the biggest things as far as determining if someone could teach is probably classroom management. Who has control over the classroom for the majority of the students to be focused and to participate in to attempt to learn, because you always going to have one or two, and that's the
Right.
thing. If you have 30 kids and 20 of them off the chain, there you already know what's going on in that class. But if you have 30 and you have 26, 27, they're pretty much on board, but it's always those two or three. And it makes things a little more manageable when it's just those um, two or three kids. So that becomes the issue. And lately, for me, for doing this so long, it's teachers that I would appreciate their teacher style if I go up and observe. But then now I think getting hit with, instead of, like I said, having those two or three kids, well, now when you're getting hit with 10, 12, 15 kids, like, damn, got behavioral issues and um, IEPs and special ed and all that stuff, is comes overwhelming. And it's just a tall task, which causes teacher burnout and all that stuff. But that
Mhm.
education is one of the essential points that I always focus on, and one of my core points in my whole brand. And when you talk about cocktail conversations, the counselor's corner, no Friday foolishness, and all that stuff, education is one of the ones that I feel is important. But then also tonight's subject, the myths about dating and what your grandmother never told you about dating. The dating game is one of the talking points. And certainly over the years, we've heard a lot of myths. Uh, Grandma or granny told you certain things, and some people just went on and believed it and think that it's true. And or don't have no flexibility about it. You can almost, like I mentioned, I did a promo probably like 55 minutes before the show started. And, the first one, I did like four or five, but I said opposites attract.
Mhm.
And, but even if I skip, well, I'm just going to stay in order. I said opposites attract.
Yeah.
So while opposites can attract, shared values, interests, and personality traits often create a stronger foundation for a relationship. So you may have some opposite traits, but will that get you through the long haul with being opposite of an individual? How long will that last? It may be certain things that you might be opposite of, and you might like, yeah, I kind of like that about him. Or I kind of like that about her. But sooner or later, if you don't have any shared interests or values or anything, then all of that is going to dissolve. So that's one of those myths that probably was put out there, but what was it put out? It wasn't for the long haul. I think it was
Yeah.
something like for initially, like, oh, I like him, whatever, because he's different, or I like her because he's different. But then sometimes you want to come together on certain things. You can't always buck heads on every issue. So that was one of those things that, man, it was for it was for a temporary thing.
Hmm.
Uh, so maybe whoever told y'all that, granny, auntie, uncle, uh, pop, whoever, they was talking about a jump off situation, something that was short and temporary. And you're like, oh, I love that attraction, but it wasn't for the big haul. That's what that was about. But they got y'all on that one.
Yeah, man. It's funny. We call that making uh permanent permanent decisions with temporary information. And there's a glue that binds people in a relationship. And we tend to see only the outside, if you will, of that glue of a relationship. So, matter of fact, while we're talking about it, let's take former President Barack Obama and his current wife Michelle. For all intents and purposes, what they put on during his administration was that they they were crazy glue, lockstep on everything. Any issues they had, we never knew about it. Now with her talk show out, her making the rounds on global talk shows, and if you for all of her fans and all the people who like the Obamas, I would encourage you to check out her interview on a diary of a CEO, and I'll get the link to that and I'll try and post it later. It's a telling interview, and there's some times in it because they've been catching a lot of flack, lately for their separation, if you will. And I'm not here to speculate on what's going on in their marriage. That's their marriage. I could care less. Honestly, I'm disinterested pretty much. But that glue that we see now don't seem to be that adhesive. It seems to be lacking some tackiness. And then, we don't see them in public together as much as we did. And that could be because they're going their own way for whatever reason. I'm not here to discuss that. But as people age, their need for another individual shifts. So they're no longer raising kids. Their children are young adults. I believe one is in college or both are in college. One may be ready to graduate or something of that nature. So there's an empty nest syndrome. They've done all the traveling that two people can do. So that's out the door. Now, what do they have left? And this is the problem that a lot of people run into, especially when you've been married for as long as they have. So even though they may have some commonalities when they first got together, everything they saw long term met at a point, and they say, you know what? Yeah, I like this. I like the way this looks. I like the way this turns out. But the only problem is marriage is like a car that you have no usefulness or that you've outgrown or that you want something different. You just can't trade them in. That's a person. So what do? This is why a lot of people end up being unfaithful or go get a side piece and they come together and say, hey, look, we had a great run. Kobe and Shaq. We had a great run. But I gotta move on. I'm just not into things the way they are. And that should be okay. I mean, shouldn't it? We're not all the same. We're not always gonna be the same. We call that growth. I'm not the same person I was at 25, 35, 45. Yeah, some a lot of similarities there actually. But we all grow. Sometimes we develop new hobbies. Sometimes we want to do things different. Yeah, that's okay. Because let's face it, our parents were raised in a different age where they didn't have the opportunity to be as mobile as we are. They didn't have the may not have the finances to move out the world in the way that we could. So the opportunities they had, get married, 40, 50 years, we get a house, we raise these kids, we raise some grandkids, we grow old, we die together. That was the outlook. That was the future. Now, ball game has changed. And when I say the ball game has changed, it's almost as if you can rewrite your own rules and play the game the way you want. All you need is somebody who's willing to do it. And for some, that's becoming very easily, and for some, it's become very difficult because the rules that you're writing only benefit you. They don't allow anyone else in. So there is no commonality. And when there is no commonality because you're always rewriting the rules to suit you, well, people say, well, dang, you're inconsistent. And you say, no, I'm not inconsistent. This is just what I want. Yeah, what you want is never the same. I called you this week. You love sushi. All right, I know this little sushi restaurant opening up about a month from now. I made plans. I'll call you 2 weeks. Hey, we hadn't had a date. I know you're busy, your schedule's hectic. I know you like sushi. Let's go to this new sushi restaurant. You say, sushi? Oh, no. Excuse me. I don't want any sushi. And you're sitting there perplexed. You say, 2 weeks ago, you had over here some sushi. And now you don't want it? Yeah, I guess it was a one time thing. And that kind of stuff, that type of inconsistency will ruin a relationship. I will tell you now. And I know David's gonna laugh when I say this. I'm consistent from September to from September to February. Don't call me on a Sunday. I'm watching football. I'm consistent.
Listen, man, you gotta throw away them old regimes and let it go, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You gonna keep getting the same results, whatever.
I love my
I used
result.
to, I used to be the type that I felt like I had to watch every football game that was possible, every basketball game. But now I realize time is short. So, and I would handicap myself to anything. Like, well, I can't do nothing this time because the football games or NBA playoff games or March Madness. Hey, I'm just telling you. Yeah, you're not getting any younger. The only thing I will not try to sacrifice for is a Saturday night and a good boxing match. But that's kind of hard because some of the product that is being put out there with some of these
Mm.
fights now is like, what are they fucking doing? Whatever. And I just like right now, I just look forward to September, Bud Crawford and Canelo, and that's
This will be number three, won't it?
no, they never
No,
fought
this will be
before.
the third time fighting, won't it?
No, but they never fought. Bud is
Okay.
going up in weight, two weight classes to challenge Canelo. So as I was saying, to Herb, the big bad wolf, sometimes you might have to, but it you can't tell another person how to work their plan, and that's another thing that people need to understand. You work your plan, other people may have their plan. Sooner or later, you may have to compromise, but it's always going to be always be a difference. Like some people may be, gun ho over holidays and birthdays and celebrations and Mother's Days and Father. Me, I'm pretty flexible on any of those things, even birthdays. If my birthday fall on a Sunday, it ain't law that I can celebrate my birthday any fucking time I want to. It ain't like nobody go ask for my ID. Is it really your birthday or whatever? So if it's in which is June, but if I decide to and it's more convenient for me to celebrate it at the end of June, uh, once school is out, then that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm still gonna have a good time. You gotta kind of dictate and control and be the author of your situation. You can't like say, oh well, my birthday's on a Tuesday, and if I can't do nothing on a Tuesday and nobody else can do it, then it's a wrap. That don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. Uh, you have to be the author of your entire situation on when you want to do things. Yeah, Mother's Day is a certain day, but that's a money grab.
Yeah,
That's all that is. That's a money grab. Um, if if your kids decided to say, we gonna get together on July 13th, we about to celebrate mom. Out of nowhere, she ain't gonna even know what's gonna hit her. Eh, we gonna do this and do that. Fuck that Mother's Day shit where everybody posting shit
yeah,
and
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
doing the same thing. We doing our shit in July. She gonna say, more than likely, you gonna say, that was one of the better days of my life. Like I had no idea and I needed it. I was shit was going on at work. Uh, they were acting funny. I hadn't heard from any of them for a while, but they were planning on this and they strategically put it together. And I had a great time. But you know what? Y'all ain't creative like that. Y'all listen, whatever they say on the calendar is what you got to do. Y'all feel that you got to do. Fuck their calendar or whatever the case is. You don't tell me when to celebrate anything. And I can't, yeah, I can't get past that. Can't get past that because y'all see commercials. Y'all brainwashed. That's the
yeah.
definition of being brainwashed.
Mhm.
That you have to concede to everything you see instead of saying, nah, back in the days I used to do that. We ain't slaves no more. We still slaves. When you ain't unless you financially free, I guess but our minds we have more going on now that we can say, nah, no sir, no ma'am, I ain't doing that shit. Well, I ain't doing it this time. I do it when I want to do it. We have more options and choices, whatever. Try to utilize your choices and try to be more creative. And creativity brings more happiness.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I do agree that it's just the reason why I'm so staunch about my football is because, well, unlike most people, most men anyway, I don't have kids. So, you know, for me, and it's always been sports has been a way of life. Sports has kept me out of trouble. It's kept me grounded. It's kept me involved. So that's really my one solid link to a lot of things. And I'm blessed to have, you know, all my brothers are still with me. So, you know, depending on what time of the year it is, how the season stacks up, we might all get together and go down to Baltimore catch a Bills game. So there'll be 7 or 8 of us. So I try and always keep that clean. Just this past last September, yeah, it's been a year already. We went down to where well youngest brothers in Columbus to it's not a retreat, it was a cabin site. In I this place is, as far as I'm concerned, for the purpose, it was absolutely beautiful, sitting off a nice little lake. We went down there 6 7 days, barbecue, fished, went to the gun range. Those are the type of things. So, you know, and it was just outside of football season, and it was during the week, and I had a blast. I had a blast. We was down there talking trash and drinking. like we do. So that becomes a thing for people. And it's like David said, how flexible are you? Because if you're flexible, even though that glue that combines that's holding you guys together, even when it still peels, you can say, okay, you know what? Let's start a look at this. What is something that we both want to do that we have the means to do that we haven't done yet? You start sitting back, you start analyzing, you say, hey, remember we always talked about going on that cross track journey via train? Yeah. Why don't we do that? We have enough PTO. We can kennel the dogs, or we can get somebody to sit and watch the house. Let's go. Why are we sitting here sunset after sunset, moonrise, playing this rat race game? Let's go have some fun. Let's go enjoy ourselves. That's when your commonalities should kick in. Especially, like I said, especially if you have kids, even if you aren't married. Let's take two people that aren't married. They happen to meet, they're in their late 30s, early 40s, both career driven people, both accomplish some things. They may have kids separately, but they're out of the house. And I say, hey, you ever think about backpacking across Europe? Why would I want to do that? You know I hate being outdoors. All right, let's 4 days. We can do Green Acre style. We can go backpack 2 days and we can spend the day in Milan. We can spend the day in Paris because Europe is so short. We got our passports. You speak Italian. I speak French. We're fine. Let's go have some fun. Let's go do this.
You know what I want to do? I always said, now I don't want to, I damn sure wouldn't be driving, but I would love to have like a nice RV with a driver and with my favorite people. And we
Yeah.
all just load up in there and go across country. And
Yeah.
just stop at different spots, or whatever. I'd probably sleep a great deal, but I wake up, drink, talk shit, and play cards, or whatever. Then I'll probably go back to sleep and all that. But it would be a ball. That's one of the things that I think I would love to do. Just find a driver. We all give him a good money, and and he good. Make sure he have a good time too. And like, yo, we ain't in no rush. We just going through seeing
But see,
different things, and we just
but see, this is the beautiful thing about that. If you have a family member, and people, let me put this out there up front. Go get a CDL. You can get your hazmat endurance. I'm sorry, endurance. I'm sorry. You can get your hazmat uh, certification. You can get all the certifications you want to. What I'm simply suggesting is this: somebody in your family have a CDL. It's like the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. Man pulled up in there, all those some crazy stuff happened. Just imagine having the ability and the freedom to do what David suggests. And you ain't got to pay nobody per se. You get a couple people, they share the workload. Y'all talk about an unstoppable family. Just imagine how a family reunion would turn out like that. Y'all got 4 RVs, 50 people, and y'all just pull up at AOU campgrounds, and y'all just plug in and y'all take over the place, and y'all out the next day. Imagine the fun your kids would have. Imagine the stories that they would have. This is what life is supposed to be about, experiences. But we get locked into so many things that sometimes we don't know what an experience is. So we got to turn to somebody and say, hey, man, this is what David is talking about when he says be creative.
Yeah, because you all keep posting the same shit. But now I'm saying that, watch, you see somebody like, damn, that's a good idea. Imagine you're making videos and all that shit, but that family reunion on that RV. We in Colorado right now. We in Colorado right now near the Grand Canyon. Now we in Vegas here for a minute. And now we didn't touch LA. Now we about to go up to the northwest. We in Seattle or whatever the case is, and that will probably be one of the greatest times of your life. That particular time. But don't get me wrong, it's going to be some arguments. It's going to be some rooted arguments. It's bound to happen. It's
All
bound
right,
to
so
happen.
somebody in winning Domino's game, somebody got spanked in
Yeah,
spades.
it's somehow it's bound. But that's why the screening process would have to be on point. Like, no, they can't come. Once they hit that bottle and they get to it, they start complaining and this and that. Nope, they're gonna miss it. They'll just be able to see it, watch when we post clips and stuff like that. But and maybe it'll teach them to say we got to get our act together. I want to be a part of the
Yep.
next one. Uh,
Yeah.
but you got to have the right people to do it. But I think that would be that's like a whole that could be like a whole documentary or whatever. That time, depending on how long it is, because I'm sure it would be some funny shit that come out of that. For a lot of pranks
Because
and all types of stuff come out of that.
that's what Uncle Ron's looking for. Uncle Ron looking for somebody, to saddle up with on a week vacation across the country, whether it be train or automobile. Of course, it's got to be during the offseason of football.
Yeah, well, football can be played in the RV.
Well, but see, and you know what? That's the beautiful thing about technology with today. I don't, me or Uncle Ron for that matter, we don't have to necessarily be planted in front of a TV at home, as long as and I'm going to offer up a little dove here. If I can listen to it on the radio or stream, you can get me out of the house. But, and I stress, but I have to be able to focus when I want to focus.
Mm.
So if you get me somewhere where there's going to be some poetry reading or there's going to be a play, sorry, the Big Bad Wolf and Uncle Ron, we can't do that. However, if you get me out to an event where there's a party going on, you want me to hang out, your family's in town, I might be able to shoehorn you in there. I'm flexible enough to do that. I care enough to do that, but I gotta care. You just can't be some old fly by night, drop in, hang your ballerina slippers up over the bed and think you're gonna post up because I'm still temperamental about having my furniture moved. Uncle Ron got away with moving the couch, but not everybody can move furniture in the house.
Well, I'm just saying. So that this conversation derived from opposites attract. One of the great myths. And if you look at what I had down, well, you can go. If you got any myths, you could go there. We could just piggyback. That was the first one I had. Opposites attract.
Let's see here. I've been seeing I got some friends that's coming up on this time in their lives, and there really is I don't delicate's the word to use. Um, and I know men don't because most women don't understand it. Um, Menopause. Now, for a lot of men, they hear this word, they're like, "Oh man, I have hot flashes and and all this stuff," and I don't want to hear anything about it. I don't want
Well, they trying to
to,
make it seem
fellas.
like men go through that too.
You know what? That's a good question. I have not looked into it. I do know this: men do experience some symptoms that, if they want to term it as that, they can. The only difference is men lose a measure of a percentage of testosterone that they produce. So I'm 53. I'm nowhere near producing the testosterone I did when I was 23, 24, up in those ages. The only thing is we don't have the biological impacts that women do. Sure, some of us are going to experience erectile dysfunction, and if you want, take Cialis, or what is the other one? You can do that. Personally, me speaking, once that's just gone, it's gone. I'm not taking no little blue pills. And people are gonna say, well, people are gonna say, well, what if she wants to? She's gonna have to find a water hole where the water comes out the spigot when you turn the knob. That's that's just how it's going down. Now, people are gonna say that's selfish. Yeah, you know what? You might be right, but it would be the same thing that if she was postmenopausal and she was experiencing vaginal dryness. I'm not gonna force her to take HRT. And for those of you who don't know what the HRT stands for, it stands for hormone replacement therapy. Some women need that because they need to feel whole. I I I will say this: when it comes to sex, been there, done that. Okay, I'm not gonna beat a female down if she's not physically capable. This is why we talked about what we just talked about. Build things, go out and do things, enjoy each other's company, go places. Hell, as a matter of fact, I'll put this out there. How about you couples that are involved, you write a movie about your life? It could be a comedy, it could be a romance, it could be a combination of the two. Hey, and you know what? Do from beginning to end and try and market it. Try having a movie made after you. Think about it. Uh, uh, we always talk about, at least I do, we always talk about all the scripts in Hollywood, the rewrites. There's nothing new. There's nothing interesting. Everything's there. We've seen that, been there before. Who has really seen your life up close and personal to the point they can say, I knew that. I knew that. I knew that too. Think of all the dumb stuff you did, all the funny things you did, all the heartbreak you had, all the success you had.
Look at this.
And then just write about it. I've said this before and I'll say this again. Write your epitaph. When you get the opportunity to sit down and write about your life from beginning to end and see all the things that you've accomplished, all the things that you want to accomplish, you will see that you lived a life that you never even imagined. And don't forget your significant other if he's been there or he's been there. So, but getting back to the menopause, it's tough for women, and generally, I will say a lot of things is tough for them. You know, they don't know who they're gonna be post menopause. We always talk about the uncertainty of the nature of women. We talk about that they have multiple thoughts at the same time going through their mind about this, and this. So, what happens if a female who thoroughly enjoyed sex now she can't participate in it, or at least the way she wanted to, and she thinks that's going to affect the relationship, but she doesn't know how to breach that topic to you because you're a tool and you don't care. You just say, "Hey, look, when I married you was 33. You said we weren't gonna have any more kids, and shoot, it's chandelier session every Saturday. Matter of fact, I got it marked on my calendar. We need to tighten up the screws on the chandelier. She gonna be sweet. She gonna be swinging from these suckers. All of a sudden now she can't swing from those chandeliers. You saying, do I have to, do I have to go find a new boo? Not necessarily. You might have to introduce new things with your boo that you like to do with your boo. And that's where the growth and the maturity comes in a relationship. I'm not saying you have to eschew sex. Y'all might have to come up with some type of agreement, as opposed to every Saturday might be every other Saturday. You might have to replace it with some things. But this is where the conversation starts. And fellas, get used to it, especially if you're in our demographic, perimenopause, menopause, all that stuff is saying, we're here. It's that time. You can't outrun us. Your appointment is September 2nd, 2027. You're going to start experiencing symptoms. You may want to let your husband know. You want to let your jump off know that it's going to get real hot in the bedroom, even though it's the middle of winter. It's negative 20 degrees outside. It's going to be hot in the motherfucker in your head. It's going to be hot in the motherfucker in the pants. You're going to have the window open. You're going to have the covers on. You don't know what the hell is going on. You got to go see your doctor because that feels like somebody got a flamethrower to you. He said, oh, you're in the menopause. I said, menopause. And this is funny, no lie. When I was listening to the Michelle Obama interview, she said she didn't know anything about that. What? You didn't know about menopause? I was floored when she said that. And I'm going to imagine there's probably a great deal of women who don't know. Because just like we talked about last week with what men and men need to know behind the closed doors, if your mother in her 60s, 70s, she's never discussed menopause with you. Matter of fact, she's never discussed the entire reproduction cycle with you from a female perspective from beginning to end. You can be blindsided. And your doctor's going to talk to you about it because it's part of the medical treatment. But if you ain't prepared for it, I don't know what to tell you. It's just like, the one thing I'm always a fan of is the information, knowledge. And like the slogan from G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle. Just like when they do a procedure, they're going to tell you, hey, expect this. You're going to get this sensation. This might happen. Same thing with medication. They give you new medication. They tell you, hey, be alert for this. Don't start driving or operating heavy machinery until you've had enough of this medication for 4 or 5 days and you know how the body's going to react. It's a tough world. And to have somebody on your squad makes it that much easier. So, menopause. Fellas, the more you know, ladies too, but I'm speaking specifically to the fellas, the more you know and the more you understand, the more flexible you become about her mood swings. She may not appreciate it. I'm not saying she's going to appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. But the more flexible you become about her mood swings, the more you understand about why she's behaving in the manner that she is, the less you realize you have to do. You just got to say, look, just like her, I have to weather the storm. Now, you might have to weather the storm in a different manner than she does. That's what you have to figure out. Now, that might mean talking to her. And if possible, you know what? Talk to some of her female friends. Talk to some of your female relatives who've been down that road. Maybe they have some insight. But talk, research, open a book. Stop being, dare I say, closed-minded on a topic you think that doesn't matter to you. Because eventually, you're going to encounter someone, let me not say that. You're going to encounter a female who's going to go through menopause. I remember when my mother did, I had no idea about it. Just flip it over. It ain't hot. Didn't know about it till long after she was done. So, fellas, it's one of those things that, you may not value it now. You may not value the information. And ask your female friends. We always talk about, the need for female friends and why they exist, and can men and women be female friends, and what can you get out of them? There you go. I have one that's going through right now. Matter of fact, she hasn't had a cycle. Yes, and I know her cycle schedule. She has not had a cycle in 5 months, so she's hoping she's done, and I hope so too. Then I gotta hear about it anymore. but fellas, hey, just like the stylistic scene, people make the world go round. Do you want the world to go round, or do you just want to stop, bump, stop, half a spin here, quarter turn there, or do you just want to keep going smooth? Me, I prefer my world to go smooth. Besides, you know what it does? It puts you in a unique position to get to hang out with some women, especially if you're a single man, you're unattached, and a reasonably good-looking jobs. Hey, there's a lot of record playing that going on post-menopause. That's all your man gonna say.
All right. Don't mind me. I've been glancing at the game. Look like Knicks gonna go up 3-1 on Boston, and Jason Tatum is, I don't know, something going on with his ankle, so he looked like he may be seriously injured.
We know one Knicks fan that's happy.
Who that?
Stephen A.
Oh, Stephen A. Yeah. But back to this. And one of them is that man should always pay. That's some bullshit. And if you're a man, you may always be capable of paying. But if you have any fortitude or respect for yourself, some days you want to be treated.
Oh, yeah.
And you will find out that when a woman likes you, she will treat you. Mm-hmm. And she will say, you know what? You always do this. You always there. She will throw out things you did that lets you know that she respects and she values you, that she will say, tonight I'm paying. We're going here. We're doing this. And she may even get you some gifts or whatever the case is. And that lets you know that she likes you. She's into you in the dating end. Because if you're a dude and you tricky Dick Dawson and you constantly spending and taking somebody on trips and doing this and doing that, and they'll never get you nothing in return out of the blue, and you okay with that shit? Are you okay with that? Are you happy with that? Because you can post pictures and all that. Like, look who I'm with.
Ooh.
So what if no one has ever liked you? I don't know what the context you come in with.
Let me see if I can. Go ahead, David. Finish your statement. I think I know what he's getting at, because I was just thinking about that.
And if that's what you're doing, and you leading with money, and you feel like you got to do that to gain respect, you're a fucking loser. You're a loser with money. You're a loser with money, because until they say, baby, don't worry about it, I'm gonna cook for you. I'm gonna go get this. What's your favorite drink? I got your drink. You gonna come here? What time you gonna get here? We just gonna relax and chill. Then you know the women. You know she's into you when she started doing little things that involve you and that you're interested in. You're talking about how women likes you, etc. What if no woman has ever liked you like that? That's the reality of it all. It could be the case. for some people that no woman has ever been. Like I said, we're throwing out pointers on our experiences, and that could be the case. And
Well, the go ahead, Dave. I'll let you finish, Dave.
yeah,
Before I
I mean, the solution is you may have to go back into the lab and study yourself.
right. Number
Um,
one, yep.
and what you need to do different. If you keep doing the same thing and you going out in the dating thing, if you that tricky Dick Dawson that keep doing this and like, okay, I want to do this, pay that, and then you realize like, damn, she don't ever do. She ain't never made me a fucking sandwich or brought me something uh, to eat or whatever. You can almost say, see the bit the scale the teeter totter that can't be up here all the time for somebody
Mhm.
and the other person, that's danger. That's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to find a medium that sometimes it may be a little higher at this end or whatever, but that's okay. But when the gap is too huge, that's an issue.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
What I would relationships, attraction, and the like is just like real estate. Location is everything. Now, I don't know what your ethnicity is. I don't know what your age is. But you're saying, but if a person changes themselves to attract someone else and they end up liking that person based on that, then when they find out who you really are, they're gonna leave. I think it's an assumption. That's the danger, and that's what you don't want to do. If you're going to change an aspect of yourself, make sure that the change you are engaging in is for you. Never change for anyone else, because what you'll find is every individual that you like or that you may think you like, you're going to end up changing to suit them, and you're never going to have yourself. So whatever it is that you think you want, and this is something we talked about earlier, make sure that your essence, and your bedrock core is what you're building on. So I don't know how old you are. So let's say you're in your mid-30s. You make decent money, but your competition is a little younger, a little more affluent and influenced. So you can't compete with those people around you, because for a woman to like you, she actually has to know something about you to like. So I don't know what you do in your spare time. I don't know if you go out. I don't know if you have any extracurricular activities or things that you engage in. But those are the things that you need to fill in first. So whoever you are, make sure that you make a fair amount of money so you can take care of yourself. Don't worry about taking care of her. Take care of yourself first. Make sure that your your looks is presentable. Now, when I say your looks are presentable, I'm talking about, are you clean shaven? Your clothes clean. Your clothes in good bin. Your clothes don't necessarily. Jack, where are you located at? And they see you as a friend because you present yourself as a friend, and that's not a bad thing. Don't let anyone rob you of that, because in order for you to be a good mate to any woman, yeah, that's what you got going on. Tampa can be a tough market, because you're within drives to Orlando. You got Florida, that's probably about 3 or 4 hours away. Um, Jacksonville, that's up north. But the beautiful thing about where you are is you can transfer if you want. I would say make sure that everything that you are trying to do You're doing it because it's authentically you. You say you play chess. You say you play music and stuff like that. The women that you're targeting are these women who are equally as successful as you are? Are they above your pay grade in terms of looks? Because women are hypergamous. So they're always looking to go up a notch. So let's say you're at 6 on the look scale, your income puts you at 7. Your chess playing and music playing are things that women aren't interested in. That's fine. Don't let those things go. What I would tell you to do is this.
My own house got no job. Ain't really good places.
All right, I'm sorry. Let me read this. He says, I own my own house. I have no debt. I'm not really good. There are really no good places to meet women naturally. I'm social and stuff, but everything we tried don't work.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
just be
tough.
yourself.
Let me introduce this to you. How often do you start conversations with women that you don't know? I mean, do not know at all. Go out to happy hour, go to matter of fact, you're in Tampa. And I know the Rays have had some damage to their stadium. But go to where the Tampa Bay Rays play. Hang out there. Strike up conversations with random women. Every time you do that, I want you to get 3 contacts. No, you don't have to drink. That's even better. You don't need to. No. Tampa Bay Rays. I'm talking about a baseball game. Don't make it on occasion. Make it every day. I'm gonna pull out some stuff from Ron Wills. Go to a Tampa Bay Rays game. Talk to 3 women there. Go to a Tampa Bay Lightning game. Talk to 3 women. Don't worry about that. You're putting too many things on your plate. Just because you go into a restaurant doesn't mean you have to eat everything. Just talk to random women. And don't put any pressure.
Well, let me add to this. So what's your because the first attraction, I mean, I don't know how you feel about yourself, your self identity or self concept.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about how you look or whatever, the way you dress, the way you smell? It's like little subtle things like that can gather somebody's attention. I always tell people try to be uncommon. You don't want to look like the next
Right.
fool. You got to have something that distinguishable. That if you say you don't like the bar scene, you could be in a bookstore. You could be,
Mm-hmm.
it's tons of events. You're a lawyer, so it's different things, conventions and things that
Yes.
come up. You probably got to study the lay of the land and say, I'm gonna make a little subtle shift, but you do it for yourself, not for them. That
Right.
was one of the point myths, whatever. Don't change for your partner. Be who you are. It you could always take suggestions and they may give you a little enhancement, but you never want to like they're like, oh, you wear this or you wear that. You don't wear that anymore. Or whatever the case is. If it's a certain thing, probably get your signature thing that you like because a lot of times people base stuff on what everybody else do. Have something that you're into that's your signature and ride that out and add to it. I know you made a comment. I mean, I don't really care about my own looks because I feel like fashion is often just an excuse to be vain. but I'm all right with my clothes. Looks well. I can lose weight, but I'm 5'7". Maybe that's it. I
Well, I
mean,
will tell you. Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
some women do like, oh, they gotta be this certain size, but that doesn't really can't. I guess you just got to be comfortable with your package uh, and who you are. Uh, and I think that's the thing because you're gonna always have some women say, "I like taller men." Some women gonna say it doesn't matter. It's about their heart. But are you comfortable with who you are? And
Yeah.
I think that's the issue. A lot of men are not comfortable with who they are. They want to be like their buddy. They want to be like some entertainer. They want to be this, but they don't have nothing or no niche that they could call their
Mhm.
own or no brand or no nothing. Because at the end of the day, we're all a brand. You're
Right.
branding yourself. We're all a brand. You're always marketing yourself in some type of way, whether it's a job or something. You are your own brand. I talk to women and I feel after a while they just stop texting as much and then it's
There's one of your problems.
like oh they'll leave me on red and by then I'm not gonna continue to initiate with someone like that.
Let me jump in here for a second.
Go ahead.
Texting is the number one bedroom killer. And let me explain to you why. Because with texting, there is no physical um, commitment. What I mean by that is this. Yes, get her phone number, text her once or twice. But when you text her, there should always be an agenda behind your text. You say you're a lawyer. Cool. Say, you know what? I know this nice little swanky spot. It's a Notre Lounge. I don't drink, but let's go there and let's have a bite to eat. Let's do a little bit of dancing. You got to find out what she likes. So when you're texting, say, hey, what would an ideal date be that you would like? And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you do. You're just collecting data, just like you would if you were given a case. You don't go into a case code. They're, they're always busy for you, and that's fine. If that's the line that she's giving you, ask her when she's free. And if she gives you another line, say, okay, you know, man, thank you for your time. You don't have to be nasty about it. Just be matter of fact, and you move on to the next one. This is why I'm saying go to events. Because I'm sure Tampa has a lot of events going on. It's summer, things are going up. Out at the beach, you might, and this is why you got to get your body right. Because if you get your body right, you're hanging out at the beach with a book, you might be doing some legal briefs at the beach. See a female walk by and say, hey, man, let me ask you a question. And just have, and this is something else I got in my head too, but just have a random list of nonsensical questions. They're called icebreakers and it allows you to open women up. Because some women don't know what they like until they actually are exposed to them and they say, you know what? I misjudged you. I had you all wrong. And that's what you want. You don't want to, like you said, you know, you got people that feed you the BS. You're right. Don't waste time with them. But you have to understand that women are every bit as nervous as you are. They don't know if they're going to be liked. They don't know if they're attractive enough. They got more insecurities than you could ever imagine. And you know why? Because they think he's more confident and competent than you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's your competition. He says, He says, after he says you move on to the next one, he says, sure, but I can't tell you how many times I'm talking to a woman and it's going well, and then I have to watch another guy swoop in and they go with him. It may not be, it may be that you're not moving fast enough for her. Because believe it or not, some women want to move things along quicker so they can establish, are they going to be in a relationship with you? Are they just going to have sex with you? Or what you fall into is they want to be friends because they consider you safe. They consider you safe enough to have around, but they don't want to do anything else with you because they're not interested. So you got to you have to pique their curiosity. And the way you pique their curiosity is by doing things such as saying, hey, what are you doing this day? What are you doing this day? Let's go this, let's do this, let's do this. Be assertive, but not necessarily pushy. It's look at women like you would a difficult case. And I'm not sure what kind of law you do. Look at women like you have a difficult case and you're trying to win this case. You're going to do things that you probably might consider to be slightly in the gray areas because they've never been tried before. And you're like, I don't know. Try it.
So, I'm reading this comment, and you said, "Bro, I'm about as big as you, big bad. So if you're getting it, I'm not. I'm not. I don't know what to say." So when you say that, are you saying you're 5'7" and you're kind of on the heavy set type on the heavy set side, and then somebody else come through and they may swoop, but like her said, that has to do with um, confidence because you can be short and you can be heavy, but that don't stop a lot of
Right.
what gets them going. It's the confidence level. Uh, Criminal law is different though with law. I know what the laws are. I know the
Man,
rules of evidence. There ain't no rule book that applies to all women. No, it's not.
you
But
are you are absolutely right. Go ahead, Dave.
what the one thing it is when you got the vernacular and and you got you got the power to play of words and you got what we call gifted gab. You can say shit. You can say shit that they never that could blow their mind. It's a teachable moment because of stuff that they're not used to hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you don't. You have to be careful how you do it because you don't want to. Oh, you think you're better. You think you're smarter. You will hear some of that, but sometimes you got to be good with wordplay,
Right.
and and that may be the deal breaker. You may come up with a word, something different that means beautiful like everybody else is saying, but you may say something else, another word, like what do that mean? And it may be something they never heard before, and that may be like, damn, the spark or
Yeah.
something different like that. It's just that's a lot, but I understand what you're saying, and I don't, and I truly I understand what you're going
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. What I will say is this. Personally speaking, I'm not dating anyone. Now, if I wanted to, I could. I'm just at that point in my life where I'm content with the way things are. You're not. So the things that you need to ask are, what do I want? And what am I willing to do to get what I want? And once you got those things down, you'll start taking a roadmap to say, okay, you know what? I want a woman just for me. She's got to have these certain qualities um, about her that I like, that I may want to engage in a long term monogamous relationship or short term monogamous relationship or just a sexual encounter or I want friends. That's your playbook. So when you got your playbook there, you say, you know what? Let me go, like I was said earlier, go out and meet these women and drop them in these categories. Because the mistake that we make as men is that every woman we meet, we have to like. That is the best way to frustrate yourself. Some women you meet, they may be great for conversation for you, and that's all you want. Some women you meet may be just for sex, and that may be just for you. I have I have female friends that you know what I will never ever try in bed, but I have if I want to go out or want to go to a social outing, I call her. So this is what you have to do. You have to start setting yourself up so you can get the things that you want on your terms. So go places that you don't always like to go. And don't look for a woman to like you. Just look for a woman to have a conversation with. Because the more you do that, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the more competent you become in talking to women. And that radiates. Women smell confident men like dogs smell fear on people. And if you approach a woman and she thinks you're not confident, you don't stand a chance. Because you yourself are telling yourself that this is just gonna end just like everything else. So if you're going to a situation where you like this, she understand, this cat's a square. And I don't want anything to do with him. However, if you come into the situation you're approaching like the defense attorney that you are, like I'm gonna get this, she's gotta pay attention because she thinks she might miss something. And fear of missing out from women is a huge thing. So make sure you got that inner confidence about yourself. And the only way you're gonna get that inner confidence about yourself is to work on yourself. And there's nothing wrong with working on yourself. You have to pass the bar. So I know you're capable of working because passing the bar is not easy. But just don't be defeated by the fact that women are passing you by for something else. All of us have had that happen. Hell, are you kidding me? The number of times I've been speaking to a female only to see her leave at the end of the night with somebody else. Matter of fact, there's somebody on my friends list. I'm not gonna mention any names. We was at Club Exit years ago, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna bag this." Only to see another cat swoop in and fly off, and I was like, "Oh wow, oh wow." And she was fine. She's still a pretty good looking chick today. She's got 3 or 4 kids. They're all adults. I've never told her anything about it. Now, the irony is I end up paying him back the favor with a female he was dealing with.
And see, one of the things I look at with all that, and I think her mentioned it before, like just giving it a shot. Uh, Sometimes it's about your confidence level. And I remember me and my crew. It was sort of like a competition. Not that we was out to hurt anybody's feelings, but we felt like okay, if it was only one of us driving, and it was only the car only occupied for if it was six of us and the car only occupied for 4 or 5 of us to ride in there, and this was back in the days, somebody can't go. So
Right.
what we had to determine is if you go, are you going to put in work? So I was more quiet by nature than any of them, but what the thing was just to feel comfortable to speak to see if you could get a girl's number and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
that's it.
So
That's it.
and a lot of times you got the numbers in different places, shows your hand, a piece of paper bag, a napkin, whatever. But when we got in the car and it was time to do our reporting of the night, so what's up? Well, what's going on? Uh, it nah, and, if whoever didn't do anything, your ass don't need to go next time. And
Right.
but the one thing I say, they make now they'll admit it. They were like, damn. When David came up, he came up for all of us. because then whoever I talk to, I would put sessions together or gatherings that we all can go to, or whatever the case is. But I was probably the quiet one and the most reluctant one. Man, you just gotta be who you gonna be. Yeah, make sure kind of navigate this your surroundings and pay attention and shoot your best shot. And, it's all types of stands. If you don't shoot your shot, shit, you ain't gonna never win. Uh, you may be you may be 0 for 40, but if you hit your last two, that may be it. So you're gonna sometimes you're gonna receive more no's than yeses. But it got to be you got to have confidence in having them no's. So that's just that's just it. Like you seem like you got a solid foundation.
Mhm.
You got a great career path. And that's half the battle because a lot of guys who swooping up the women at the end of the night, there ain't no consistency in that. They probably have swooped them up, and then you'll see that same woman, and that guy nowhere to be found. You got a solid foundation to build on, and
Yeah,
a
you
good
do.
woman would know that shit, he got something. So that's the thing. But do you believe it? You got to walk in
Yes.
that career, that title. You got to have a certain swag about it, and you got to have enough confidence. Because certainly, if you a lawyer, doctor, and any of those higher professions, you got to walk that shit too. You got to believe it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they might say, "Oh, he's arrogant" or whatever. They can say what they want to say. But you gotta believe it. You gotta walk it. You just can't have a title and you walk it with your fucking head down and not feeling good about yourself. You gotta say, "Damn, I accomplished a lot more than any of this shit, whatever that any of these people went through. I went through a lot to become a lawyer. So in that in itself was probably a more difficult journey to grabbing some these women out here. So that's what you got to believe in. Like you can't take L's. That you got to brush that off your shoulders. Say that's all right. Keep going.
Yeah. Just like, yeah, essentially, just like if you were to lose a case, you losing the case does not stop you from being an attorney. Matter of fact, it probably makes you want to try harder. And I will say this: if you're looking, do this the next time you go out somewhere, and it could be a restaurant. 30-second intro. Say, ladies, excuse me. My name is Jack Devani Esquire. Esquire? The hell? Who uses the title Esquire? Because most people don't know Esquires for attorney. You say, hey, I'm working on a case and I need some advice. How would you look at this? And just put something random up there. It doesn't have to be a case that you've been a part of. It doesn't have to be a case that you're working on in the future or current. Just say, I have a client who's this, and this, and this. If you were a juror, how would you look at that? 30 seconds. That's it. You the way you can break down walls with people is to make them think that what they're saying, their opinions, and they themselves are valuable to you. There is nobody on this planet, I don't care who they are, that will think less of you for thinking more of them. I'll say it again. There's nobody on this planet who will think less of you for thinking more of them. If you make those individuals feel like their opinion is important to you, especially on something that you're working on, gonna say, I've never had anybody take my opinion seriously, especially an attorney. Eh, okay. Sometimes you have to make an impression on people that mean nothing to you to impress yourself. Because they always say you can tell a lot by a person who does something for somebody that can't do anything for them. Those women don't have an idea who you are. Those women don't know if you're really a board certified attorney or bar certified attorney. But you're asking them their opinion on something that's potentially serious. And just say, hey, give me your opinion on this. I got a client who's falling on hard times and he's trying to make ends meet, and he broke into somebody's house. He was running away. Police caught him, and he turned around and he tried to get away from the police and hit the police, and they beat him down. So it doesn't matter. Just come up with something that allows you to introduce yourself, speak to the people, 30 seconds, and let them talk. And to what David's saying, this case I'm fabricating, or it hasn't been adjudicated, or any of those words, like David was saying, because you're giving them new information. And women, there's nothing that women like more than experiences. They go back to the friends. Oh, I was talking to this attorney. He's got this case going on this case going on, and you get creative. I mean, you have a career that most people only see about on television. They only hear about in passing. You're there.
Yeah, that's
You get
half
to
the
take
battle.
people on that roller coaster ride with you. That's a great pet to have, man. I tell you that. But make sure your physical is on point. Make sure your clothes don't have to be ostentatious. Your clothes has to fit your taste. Look at what David's wearing. Those clothes fit his taste. Me, I'm wearing a simple basketball jersey. These clothes fit my taste. So you have to have a style personality. And whatever your style personality is, stick to it. You may want to change up a little something here, change up a little something there. If you like to wear sandals, that's cool. Your height is fine. Don't let anybody believe that 5'7", you come out rocked up, cut up. Trust me. You're in a good spot. You're in a good situation. Don't be too hard on yourself. Be firm, but also make sure that when you step out, when that foot hit the ground, you got a theme song playing in the back, like you John Travolta and the Bee Gees are playing Saturday Night Fever. I got no time to talk. The way I move, I'm sorry. Oh, got the song. What is it? You can tell by the way I move, I'm a woman's man. No time for talk. You want to walk with that essence about you. Because I assure you, when you walk with that essence about you, people gonna notice.
Yeah, you definitely got to walk with with the confidence level, and you got to believe that shit, you're the best man out there. You're the best
Yep.
man out there. Uh, just like we make parallels to sports, when you step on the court, you got to believe I'm the best player out here today. Nothing's going to derail my team from winning. So you got to believe your win may be something as simple, just getting a number. You got to start
Right.
from somewhere. If you could collect numbers or whatever, then you could just get in. Then once you get that, that's a step. Then the conversation piece could kick in. And they might be like, wow, that's interesting. How was your week? Well, I had this case and this and that. Yeah. Because they're impressed now that they're talking to somebody because their job may not match yours, but you're telling them all the things that you do. And then, shit, all you got to say is like, man, it's been a stressful week, man. Like, what you doing? Later on this
Yeah.
weekend, or later on this week. I'm just, I like to do like nothing. And sweetheart, man, I just want to just grab something to eat and just relax. That's probably heart beating, racing, and hoping that you say, let's connect and let's do something. Man, there you have it. But you got to
And let
believe
me
in
ask
your
you another
hustle.
question. Are you on social media at all? Because if you're on social media, what I would do personally is Instagram. I would hire a photographer and let that photographer take pictures of you while you're trying a case and put them shits on Instagram. I guarantee you're going to get people that start nibbling. You got to create and sell people something that they can only get from you. I'm here to tell you, it reminds me of when I done stage theater and I took a picture for a promo, and people was like, "Yo, I never seen you dressed like that. That ain't you. Are those costume clothes?" I said, "No, they're my own clothes." Oh shit, I ain't know you put on threads like that. I'm a man of many talents. But hey, sometimes you got to give them a little something and take it away. But if you're on Instagram, what's the other one?
TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat.
Instagram, and actually, believe it or not, what you're doing in TikTok, what you could do on TikTok is just breadcrumb. Give people because everything you do is public. Tell people, say, "Hey, look, I'm trying this case, and this is the evidence that I have. What would you guys think about this person's innocence or guilt, and why?" Just a few things. You ain't got to give them nothing major. Like I said, everything you do is public anyway. You're not giving them anything that they can't find out if they were to read the court transcripts. And see, you never know what, because these court jury of peers, we don't know who's what's who. And if you can get an insight, a glimpse into what these people are thinking, it might very well help you when it comes to trials, jury selection, all of that. Don't leave anything that you do in your profession unutilized or underutilized. All that stuff should be used to your advantage. Psychological tests, any of that stuff. Walk to the woman and say, "You know what? You look like the kind of woman that if you were on a jury, you would vote not guilty." And she's gonna look at you like, "What the hell does that mean?" Now you got your open. Like, I'm a trial attorney, and I'm looking for people that I can try and convince that my client is not guilty. He's standing there holding a bloody knife and he's over her body. They're gonna look at you like you crazy. He's guilty. Can I convince you that he isn't? Play the role. All the world's a stage. Be an actor. Be an actor. Be an Academy Award, Tony, Oscar winning actor. And you're not necessarily looking at that. You're just looking to have conversations. Because I guarantee you the people around, if there's people within earshot that kind of nosy eavesdropping, they're like, "Is that true?" It gives you the opportunity to develop things. It gives you the opportunity to refine things so that when you hit the next person, the next case, it radiates. And all of a sudden people say, "Okay, you know what? This person's somebody to be reckoned with." Matter of fact, I would tell you this. Watch some of the television series Suits. I think it was a great series. I think it ended too early. I think they have Suits LA. But just watch how the lead attorney, how all of those attorneys handle themselves. Their bravado, their customs, their suits. Watch when the new guy comes on, how he grows into a competent lawyer, how he grows into somebody that's not scared, even though he has every reason to be, because of the way he got into the firm. Now, I'm not saying you have to mimic them, but just understand the confidence that you operate with has to come from within. And when you do that, your confidence alone will attract women. And then they just gonna call you Pearl because you be sitting in the oyster.
Well, definitely that confidence is a key piece. Believing in yourself and believing you're the best person out there. But you got to believe it. You got to believe it.
Yeah.
It ain't for someone else to pump you. You have to believe it because if you don't, they'll they'll see right through it. So
Yeah.
in certain situations, you got to look at it and say, "Hey, ain't the dad," or whatever the case is, or maybe you are the, uh, but the one thing you have to look at is, I'm strong. I am who I am, and I'm grounded in my belief that who I am, and that's that. And if you can walk it and talk that, the though the situations that you used to get shut down with, things probably open up, and it may start off slow, but then all of a sudden, shit, you might be on a heater, like golly. But in this day and age, sometimes you have to show. And when her mentioned Instagram and certain things like that, you might just have to show in your profile picture or caption something, just a snapshot or something. You know, something. It could be where you work at, uh, something small, but like an appetizer to make them want more. Like, okay, I'm interested. But at the end of the day, don't let whatever happen until you defeat you because again, you're already ahead of the game. You're a lawyer, so
Yeah.
you and shit. If you ask people the top five, top 10 professions, you're there. Lawyer will come up every time.
Yeah.
And me as a middle school counselor, one of the things kids say, they either say, they want to be a doctor, they want to be a professional athlete, and they say they want to be a lawyer. Those are the things that, well, now, they'll say YouTube influencer and all that. These were jobs that we didn't, when we were growing up, uh, was it in place. But you have one of the top professions, and it was an easy ride. So all that other stuff is unnecessary. Walk proud with your head up high,
Yeah.
and don't even worry about past mistakes and who wants you, whatever. Make them come get you. Make you want to be sought after, and it's enough for them that you will be sought after.
Mhm. I
Just
mean,
gotta
because
put in the
the
work.
one last thing about that is you possess a unique, an extremely unique look into how the courts function, how court cases work, all of that stuff. So what you can do on TikTok is you can run 2 days a week at set times. How they have court TV, you can be your own version of court TV. Now, people will ask, well, how is that going to lead women to him? Simple. He will get accustomed to talking to people. Take what David and I do. We don't know if 3,000 people is watching us, two people or no people. As far as we're concerned, we're the center of attention. And we behave like that. We communicate like that. We talk like that. So when we go out into the world and we speak, guess what? Ain't nothing changed. We got the confidence, the competence to sit up and talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere about anything. Not everybody can do that. Some people get stage fright. Like my man used to say, he said, when a rubber meets a road, you don't find these drivers. When the lights get bright, that's when you see who's who. We ask people to come on the show all the time. No, man, I got this to do and that to do. Come to find out, you put a mic in their face and they petrol. They don't want another bright lights. The temperature's too hot for them. They shrink. You got the opportunity, man. Embrace it. Like I said, man, Instagram. Hire you a professional photographer. Hey, you ain't gotta pay them a whole lot. And you can stage this. You can stage this in your house if you want to. Just get a table, suitcase, legal briefs, look down and read through the papers, podium, mic. Nobody have no green screen. All of that, man. Use
Yeah,
it.
the sky's the limit. You're already ahead of the game. Know that you're ahead of the
Yeah,
game. So that's the
yeah,
thing. You're not
yeah.
behind. You're ahead of the game. So that's the one thing advantage that you have. You're in one of the top 2 or 3% professions, and right there, some of these women will never get to talk to somebody at their level. You just got to believe it, but you got to be, and in your case, when you're trying to come up on something, you got to be, down to earth, but understand that you are ahead of the game and you don't have to settle for less. You're the top dog. Uh, there's more women out, you know, outnumber men. Uh,
Mhm.
so you're the top dog, and you always have to believe that, no matter your size, weight, or whatever the case is, that if you walk, you walk and have your swag about the accomplishments you made, and that's the bigger thing. Like, damn, I did that. I'm confident in that. Shit, I deserve this. I want the best. You're entitled to that, but you got to create that narrative. That's on you.
Mhm.
That's on you. Any point that you seem weak and you can't, they'll make you fold.
Yeah.
But you gotta walk. You gotta walk it. You gotta believe it. And we know that you can. But shit, you're a lawyer. Shit, you've been under many high stake pressures. And going out meeting a woman, that should be just easy work. But some things come easy, so I
Right.
don't want to say like that. So some things come easy for some people, and some things don't. But I think the essential thing we're trying to tell you is understand that you're top dog. You're top dog. You just gotta believe
Yeah.
it.
And you don't pressure's always there, but you don't have to put any pressure on yourself when you're going out to meet people. Because that's all you're doing at the end of the day. You're just going out to meet people. And if you meet somebody that clicks with you, cool. If you don't, cool. It should be viewed the same way. I'm here to see what happens. And if it's good, cool. If it's not, cool. That's it.
And
Um, hmm. And you know what? And it's funny we're talking about this because I have my first thing I wrote down was men have to understand female nature. Now, we know there are certain truths about every female, no matter what. She wants a man that's confident, competent, and he can earn or protect her as well. But what does that really look like? What does a confident man look like? Thank you, Jack, for your participation. A competent man is self assured. He understands that he's capable of accomplishing things. Why? Because he's already done it. He's confident because he's done the work, he's put in the work. So when he approaches somebody or approaches a situation, he says, you know what? I'm the big dog here. There are very few people doing what I do, and even fewer who do it to the level I do. So I didn't have anything to worry about. Now, some people may take that as being a bragger. Oh, he's just a bragger. He think he this. He think he hot shot this because he did this. Well, all he has to say is, who else is doing what I'm doing? Who else is out here at 5'7" doing reverse windmills and this? Who's out here 5'7" running 200 meters in 22 seconds flat? Who's out here doing all of this? Nobody. So I got a right to be confident. I got a right to be cocky. If you don't like it, that's your problem, not mine. I carry this around like a badge of honor. Why? Because my workload is too heavy for some of y'all. So if I walk around here like I'm the number one chief rocker, rock with me. Because you can't take my position. So why not come share it with me? But yeah, women want men that are confident, competent, and as much as women might say, I don't want to deal with someone that's arrogant. Trust me. She don't want to deal with anyone that's quote unquote weak. She'll take the arrogant guy all day, every day, walking away. Why? Because she believes in him. Because he believes in him. Don't nobody want to do it. Don't nobody want to celebrate the 4th of July with no fireworks. So be the fireworks. Be them fireworks.
Yeah. And I'm glad you came on, Jackie, and that's the whole central theme of these conversations for people to come on and face uncomfortable times, and we talk
Mhm.
about it because certainly ain't nobody no expert. I used to struggle with that too, and I mean, my initial conversation with some, I mean that was a struggle for me, like to approach someone. But remember, I said I had to play that game with my boys to be like, okay, I have to approach somebody because also I'm a competitor. And I don't want to get in the car and I don't have, and I come up empty all the time. So it's been a struggle as far as that. But once I realized who I was and all the attributes, I feel like I hold a lot of, I hold the cards in my hand in my situation. So if it don't work for me, fine. I ain't gonna stress. I ain't gonna be pressed about nothing, and I know that at the end of the day, I put in enough work that I can come up. I can come up. You need to believe that because you're at a higher statue with being a lawyer. So, but it'll take time. It's not that's just gonna happen
Yeah,
overnight. It just
right.
you gotta have the first couple interactions and see what's what. But again, I don't know how active you are on social media when some things in your profession you may want it may be limited or you may have a different page for people. But my conclusion to all of this with the conversation with you is just when you step in a room, know that you belong there, and a lot of other people probably don't, and walk it, believe it.
Hmm.
And when it's time, When opportunity comes, I think the great John Wooden said that. Be ready to answer.
Yep.
Be ready to answer. And that's half the battle. A lot of times, opportunity comes, people ain't ready to answer. And I know that when an opportunity comes, you'll be ready to answer.
Yep.
So, hey, thanks for coming in, uh, being transparent, and feel free to always stop in on a Monday night. Hey, if you say hell with this chat, I'm about to come in. I want in on the panel. Come through, pull up,
Yeah. Absolutely.
because this is not about
Absolutely.
conversations to interrogate people. It's just about putting stuff on the table. Because what we'll find out is we all have common interests. We might be at a different level, but we all may struggle through some of the same things. So it's just one big platform that you try to overcome. No, don't get it wrong. It'll be some situations. Some people come in cocky with attitude. Hey, they may get roasted. That's just life. So, but I definitely appreciate you being transparent. But these myths, they run deep. And I think one of the
Yeah.
ones that I had coming up is man should always pay. Uh, and I think we already talked about that. Like sometimes it's not warranted for men to pay. So
Yeah, I had a version of that. Leading with money is a smart move.
yeah. So and that all boils down to who the women you deal with, and they recognize different traits and characterizations in you, and they say, "Hey, shit, I'm about to cook him dinner. Well, I know he like this. I'm about to buy him this. Oh, he like hats. I'm about to get him this hat. He likes socks. I'm about to just get him a small just to get socks. It's just little
Yep.
things, whatever. So that myth, men always pay. That was somebody who don't have money on their own who came up with that myth, who's not willing to pay. Uh, what's another one? And then I let her get. Oh, one of them said dating apps are only for hookups. Interesting myth. A lot of people may think that.
I don't know. I don't use them, but it's funny because I have something that kind of runs along similar to that. Is that every man? Make sure I read this correctly. Why single women? I'm sorry, single mothers should be on a man's dating roster. Some people will tell you don't
Hmm.
deal with them. I'm telling you, deal with them. Just understand why you dealing with them. That I can't tell you about. Why can't I tell you about? Because I don't know what your mission is. But you can learn a lot from a single mom. Besides eating the child's fruit snacks and drinking the punches. Don't do that. Bring your own.
That's wild. That's definitely wild.
Bring your own, man. Stop eating up her limited resources. The kids' limited resources.
So, like, it's so many, like I said, so many different myths that's thrown out there, and it just depends on who grabs them and who holds firm. I can read some of them and I'll say, "Ain't no way in hell I'm doing that." But I could stand, but I could then, and the reverse factor is give the reason why I don't believe in that. Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, he's been transparent. He's been holding it up, and those are his stands. So that's where you have to get when you think about these myths. Like some of them just simply don't sound right. But that's up to you. Do you want to? I mean, it's great to have tradition and family, but do you always want to be locked in to say that you're 40 in your early 40s or 50s and your mother and aunts in their 70s or late 60s, is that what you want to do? Or do you want to be somewhere that you could have opportunity to go? Not saying you can't do it there, but you know, might be slim pickings. So you gotta the environment is always important too. What are you hanging
Yes, it
out at?
is. Yep. And another myth. Go ahead.
No, and one of the things I could tell you, I always say, get together, supersede all of that. Just get togethers and somebody could now the weather broke at a somebody's backyard cookout.
Yeah. Yep.
Those things permit a lot of especially when there's somebody home because there's no cutoff point. They could say it started at 7, but that shit could very well end at 1 or 2 in the morning. So there could be a lot of opportunities for great conversations during that time, courageous conversations that could open up. So you can't sleep on those opportunities and going to somewhere and they say, oh, we close at 12 or
Right.
this and that. So got to put yourself in the mix. But go ahead, Herb,
Yeah.
what
Host,
you were saying.
yep. Hosting parties is a great way to do that. I mean, you watch parties, Jewy parties. I mean, um, because another myth is a lot of people believe that the opposite gender is always the problem. And sometimes the problem is looking at you in the mirror. But people don't want to accept that they're the link. That isn't fully sealed. And that's why things keep slipping. So,
I'm just throwing stuff out there. I'm gonna throw one more out there. There, we probably go wrap it
mhm.
up. One of the things is relationships will complete you. Some people chasing that silver bullet, thinking once I find this person, I'm gonna be complete. No, because a lot of times people, we all have our flaws, but if you feel you only have 50% of your best, I don't know. And I'm gonna think, sometimes women go with that theory. If you think you're only 50% at your best, I don't know how many men may sign up to say I want to be that other 50%. So you probably need to lean toward working toward being at a higher level than that. Because let's be honest, we all battling through something in these times. There's been a lot of deaths, been a lot of stuff going on. Uh, Stores closing, things of that nature. It's getting wild. But the one thing you can control is who you are and what you believe in. So let them people follow behind the people that don't have nothing going on. But you may take a step back and may say, oh, I'm rocking with this person right now because I don't want to be caught up in that stuff. Like there's so many different things about all of this. And that's the thing. We're just throwing it out for each of you to think about some myths that you follow. Uh, Now that you got older, you say, man, I don't know how I ever listened to that shit. And you probably wouldn't even be posting for that type of reason, but you just had an opportunity and you do it and you say to yourself, man, that's I'm not in it for that. So you got to realize what you in it for and what you're not. And I think that's one of the things. For some people, they be in it for the wrong reasons, and it's hard out here. It is. Make people want to shut down and say I'm done at 40 or 50. If it happened, it happened. And I think that's one of the myths. If it's meant to be, it'll be.
yeah. Yeah.
And and for me, and even I learned like my readings of with the nation, with Muslims and all that stuff. That shit, that's believing in some spooky stuff. Like if you want something to happen, you gotta go get it. Not too many things fall in your lap. So when you have that mess, like, oh, if it's meant to be, it'll be, or somebody will come. Don't worry. Somebody, and I'm not even reading the actual ones, but I know it's similar to some of the things. What I'm thinking right now, like I don't know those. I don't know how many fairy tales happen and come true. And this is
Yeah.
gonna be my last one. I'm gonna say, love conquers all. One of the myths. One of the greatest myths.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. People have different levels of love, so I don't know what that shit gonna conquer. Uh, can't believe that. Can't believe it. I mean, love can bring you out. It could bring you together, and that could be your solid
Yeah.
foundation, and that could be your driving force. That like, oh, we can get through anything. And if you together as a unit, you may can get together, but you can't be somebody sitting around on the couch believing, well, she loved me, I love him, we're gonna get through it because the love gonna conquer all. Mm-mm. Uh. And I'm gonna let Herb say what he gotta say.
That
Then
is
we
it.
gonna close it out because these
No, that's
myths
it.
are real. You got any closing comments about these dating myths that keep going around, keep circulating?
I do not.
Well, I could say, well, for me, what I could say about myths, they are just what they are. Consider the source, consider your time, and you might got a myth,
Yes.
but sometimes you might fall back and say, man, I don't even go with what's going on now. So you got to connect the dots to see if it's in the same era or the same situation that you, and if it's not, you can learn from them because some of them leads to conversation and leads to understanding and leads to growth. But don't put your eggs in all in the basket over any of them, man. And understand it's just that, but they are powerful and they are a part of our culture and any other cultures. So it's what you're going to do with that information that counts. So that is that. Gonna slide out of here another week. See what happened in these crazy worlds, crazy world of crazy times. But understand, find your resources, believe in yourself, and if you're out there chasing that silver bullet, understand you got the perfect antidote to catch that silver bullet. But you got to believe it. Can't be nobody else. You got to be able to walk that into your life. And with that said, we out. Another testing day for me tomorrow. So, hey, I probably should go to bed. Will I? I don't know. I doubt it. I'm gonna watch this good old Minnesota and Golden State basketball game and probably see what other little content I can drop before I go to sleep. But everybody be safe.
Y'all take care.
And yeah, enjoy the transition as we get into spring, into summer. But understand that with that becomes more, you have to put your antennas on and be aware of what's going on because there's more people out now than before. So That's a whole nother conversation. So we out. On to the next one. See y'all next time. Be
All right, y'all
well.
take care, everyone.
All right. We out.